So when you're using an AI, something like ChatGPT, what do you actually picture? It's probably just code, right? Data floating around in the cloud. But, well, behind that super simple screen, there's this physical story of just staggering scale and staggering cost. It's a story that actually starts right there on your desktop, but believe it or not, it ends in outer space. So let's zoom out and really see the whole picture. I love this quote because it really nails the promise of AI, right? It's not about fighting the machine. It's about making it work for you. But here's the thing. That simple, elegant promise, it's sitting on top of an infrastructure that is just almost unbelievably massive. So to really get it, let's start right at the beginning, on the ground floor. All right, so first up, let's look at the ground floor of this whole AI revolution. We're talking about small and medium-sized businesses. This is where AI is really shifting from some futuristic idea into just an everyday tool people are actually using. And wow, this shift is happening fast. I mean, incredibly fast. A recent report showed that in just 1 year, AI adoption in businesses jumped from 55% all the way up to almost 70%. So you see, this isn't just a toy for the big tech giants anymore. It is absolutely going mainstream. But, getting into AI, it's not always a walk in the park. There's this kind of split reality. On one hand, you have this amazing promise, more efficiency, higher productivity. But on the other hand, you've got the real world of complexity and cost. Get this, a third of businesses say that just not knowing enough is a huge barrier. And for a ton of others, yeah, the price tag is just way too high. So that really makes you think, doesn't it? I mean, if a small business is already feeling the pinch from the cost of AI, what in the world happens when you blow that problem up to the size of, say, a massive global corporation? And that's our next stop. We're talking about the enterprise scale problem now. This is where the numbers they enter a completely different reality. We're now in the world of that colossal cloud infrastructure, the stuff that powers AI for, well, the entire planet. Okay, brace yourself for this number. By 2025, so just around the corner, global spending on the cloud services that make AI tick is projected to hit over $630 billion. That is the financial engine behind this entire revolution. But wait, here's the part that's going to blow your mind. Industry reports are showing that on average, almost a third of that gigantic spend is just completely wasted. Poof, gone. We're talking over $200 billion a year, just vanishing into inefficient cloud setups that provide absolutely zero value. It's crazy. So yeah, that financial waste is just staggering. But it's really just a symptom of a much, much bigger problem. You see, the true cost of AI at this kind of scale, it isn't just about dollars and cents on a balance sheet. No, it's measured in the actual physical resources of our planet. And that brings us to the planetary scale, AI's insatiable appetite. We're zooming out again because the physical demands these massive AI data centers have, well, they're starting to bump up against the very real, very hard limits of Earth's resources. And look, this isn't me being dramatic. This quote is from Google's own research team. They're the ones saying they see AI as a foundational technology, like electricity or the steam engine. And what that means is its demand for energy is just expected to grow and grow and grow, relentlessly. So what does that actually look like? Well, this is the real-world impact. We are literally building data centers that guzzle as much energy as a small country. They need billions with a B of gallons of fresh water just for cooling. And here's the kicker. We're physically running out of places to even build them. It's this whole chain reaction of just using up everything. So that leads us to the ultimate question, right? If AI's appetite for resources is basically infinite, but our planet's resources are very, very finite, where on Earth, or off it, do we go next? Well, the answer, and you're gonna think this sounds completely wild, might be to leave the planet entirely. We are now at the final and by far the most ambitious stage of the story, the cosmic solution of putting data centers in space. And I know what you're thinking, but this is not science fiction. Seriously, tech giants, including Google, are actively researching this stuff right now. Their own internal moonshot project, the one designed to tackle this exact problem, is called Project Suncatcher. So what is Project Suncatcher? Okay, the core idea is to build entire data centers on satellites and power them with the sun. Think about it. Up in orbit, a solar panel isn't just a little bit better. It can be 8 times more productive than one down here on Earth because it's soaking up sun 24/7. It's basically a plan to plug AI directly into the sun.
Okay, but hold on. There's a huge obvious problem here, right? Data centers on the ground are all hooked together with fiber optic cables for those lightning fast connections. How in the world do you replicate that with a bunch of satellites just floating around hundreds of kilometers apart?
While the solution is actually pretty brilliant. This research, also from Google, shows that the closer you can get these satellites to each other, the faster their laser links become. So the plan is to fly them in these incredibly tight formations, basically creating a virtual data center in orbit, with speeds that could actually start to rival the fiber optic cables we have on the ground. It's amazing. Now, I know this sounds insanely, prohibitively expensive, but here's the final piece of the puzzle. The cost of just getting to space is plummeting. It's collapsing. Thanks to things like reusable rockets, the price to launch a single kilogram into orbit is expected to drop so dramatically that, get this, by the mid-2030s, it might actually be cheaper to launch a data center into space than to build and power one down here on Earth. So all of this leaves us with a final kind of mind-bending thought. When you trace the problem all the way from a small business struggling with costs to the very real planetary limits of energy and water, it seems like the ultimate bottleneck for AI might not be software. It might not be better algorithms. It might just be physics and geography, which means the next great leap for artificial intelligence, well, it might depend less on clever code and more on bigger rockets, pushing the whole idea of intelligence completely off-world.